What are annual events you need to know about in the Knoxville, Tennessee area? Let's dive right in. There is a crap ton to talk about, and I'm super pumped. Let's go. Okay, so first of all, I just want to tell you that this list is not exhaustive, and I'm trying to focus on events that happen annually. So I'm making this video at the beginning of 2023. So if I reference a date, it's a 2023 date. However, I'm focusing on events that happen every year. So dates are going to be plus or minus some days. So if you watch this in 2024 or 2027 or 2034 or whatever, if you watch this in 2034, it's probably outdated. Okay, that's 11 years from now. However, some of this stuff is still going to exist then. So it's still going to be relevant, okay? Anyhow, that being said, let's dive in. So first of all, again, this is not exhaustive. So if you watch this and you're like, Haley, okay, listen, I'm doing my best just like everyone else. Okay, thanks. So January, let's talk about it. Obviously, every year we have an MLK parade that happens on MLK Day. There are also events leading up to MLK Junior Day around January 6th. Also, Knox County Schools typically goes back within the first couple of days of January. Usually the kiddos have 2 weeks off. So depending on when Christmas lands, Knox County Schools are going to go back sometime in the first week of January, typically. So also, something I didn't know happens every year is the Chinese New Year Festival. So that is something that's super cool. Never knew that until I was doing my research. And then there's also a yearly Winter Heritage Festival in the Great Smoky Mountains at the, it's in Townsend. It's at the Heritage Center going into the Great Smoky Mountains. So that's kind of cool. So those are some January events. January is pretty quiet. As we get into February, also not a ton of things. However, the Dogwood Arts Festival is a huge event that happens in the spring, and events for the Dogwood Arts are taking place pretty much all spring. So on February 10th through 12th this year is the Dogwood Arts House and Garden Show. That is a big show, big gardening expedition, big expo. That is awesome, super cool. Definitely something to check out for sure. Obviously, also there's Valentine's Day in February, and something that's cool that you could do that happens every year is you can do a dinner cruise on either the Tennessee Riverboat or the Volunteer Princess, which the Volunteer Princess is like a yacht. It's a bit more swanky. The Riverboat, I've actually been on the Riverboat when I was about 10, 12. My grandpa I think my grandpa took us. I don't know. I just remember that, like, as an adult, later thinking on it, like, we didn't go that far. We only went down to, like, Cherokee Boulevard. Anyways, clearly I was a judgmental little child because I remember thinking, like, we didn't go that far. And even now when I think about it, we didn't go that far. But anyways, maybe it was an abbreviated trip. I'm not actually sure, but I did that as a kid. That being said, Valentine's Day, they have dinner cruises, they have brunch, Valentine's brunch, they have all kinds of different options. So either go to the Tennessee Riverboat site, or if you want a little more yacht vibe, go on the yacht, which is the Volunteer Princess. So anyways, March is really when events for the year start picking up. I do a monthly newsletter that's mailed out to all my people. Shout me out if you want to get that newsletter. I will mail it to you. It is an actual physical mailed copy, and it's super fun. I'm looking around to see if I have one on my desk. I don't have one on my desk. Anyways, but last year I did a word search for events in March, and I could have gone for days and days and days. Okay, so annual things that happen in March: the Mardi Gras Parade, which is a parade for dogs. Super cool. A lot of people dress their dogs up. It's really cute. There's obviously the St. Patrick's Day Parade that happens downtown. Something that is just brand new for the year of 2023 that I'm hoping is something annual is we have a soccer team for the first time ever, and their first game is in March of this year, 2023. So that's super exciting. So that's new, but I'm hoping it's going to be a yearly thing. There's also an ultra marathon and ultra, like a running race. Some of you are like, I don't care, Haley, about that. But I think it's really cool, and it's in Maryville, Alcoa at Pistol Creek. So that's something that happens in March. Something that's also annual that I learned about was the Knoxville Cheese Festival. Never heard of this, but apparently it's been happening for a while now. So in March, I'm gonna go check out this cheese festival. So I can't speak to it because obviously I just now heard of it, but if it's anything like the Wing Festival, it's going to be literally amazing. Also happening in March is the Bass Master Classic. So that is a fishing competition. That is an annual thing. And then of course the big festival is the Big Ears Festival. That is a music festival that spans over several days. This year it goes end of March to beginning of April. It is a hugely famous, very popular, large music festival. That's something that's super cool that I think Knoxville has, because I think Knoxville sometimes, listen, I grew up here. And I never wanted to live here, like for real as an adult. And then stuff happened, you know what I mean? Then I ended up having to move back here because of life events. And now it's worked out for me, obviously. But I just think it's cool that Knoxville has such a big festival like Big Ears. I mean, it's a huge attraction. It brings tons of people to the city. And it is I don't want to say world renowned, but it is. You know what I mean? So Big Ears Festival, you got to check that out if you are a music person. So those are some of the major March events. April, Covenant Health Marathon, that happens every year. And I've actually run the, and it's in April this year. It's like April 1st this year of 2023. But it's going to be in that springtime window. I have run the half marathon. I've not done the full. I've done a full marathon, but only in Atlanta. I've done 2 fulls in Atlanta. I don't know why I haven't done them anywhere else. Anyways, half marathon, I've done the Covenant Health half. And it's not flat, it's not hilly, it's this. Although there's a couple spots where you're like coming out of Sequoia Hills. What is that road? There's a road right off Kingston Pike, and it feels like you're going like this. And you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Ooh. So the Knoxville half and the full, super cool, huge event. Parts of downtown, parts of South Knox, parts of basically stuff downtown completely shut down because that's where the marathon runners are running. Okay, this could be one of my favorite events. This is part of the Dogwood Arts kind of season. When I say Dogwood Arts Festival, in my mind, it's really all spring. There's an actual festival that it's a couple days long, but there are events for like the Dogwood Arts that happen kind of all spring. Like I mentioned that expo that happens in February. Well, one of my favorite events, I can't even tell you, I don't know why I love it so much, is the Chalk Walk. And what this is, on Market Square, artists basically get a square, like on like a square of concrete, because it's like concrete. It's not stamped concrete, but it's like big squares of concrete, okay? And artists each get one, and they do chalk art on the ground. And it's not like they're drawing tic-tac-toes, okay? It's literally, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. Stay tuned because I will make a video of it. And it is, I mean, obviously they're outside doing it because it's outside on Market Square. And it is like, I just love it. I love the stuff that people do. I love the artistry. And it's a lot of times, I used to actually teach at L&N STEM Academy, and our art department, our advanced art students, they did a square, and it was so awesome. It's one of my favorite things. I just think it's so cool what people can do, because I'm like, I want to be an artist, which my mom's like, you are, Haley. She has some pieces of my art in her house. One is a paper mache, a huge paper mache giant butterfly. The other one is a painting that looks like my granddaddy. This man fishing with a big old pot belly, which is not offensive because my granddaddy, he had a pot belly and he knew it. Anyways, what else is down there? Oh, I'd have like a portrait of me or whatever. I'm not an artist, okay, but you know, I appreciate that. Oh, and there's some pottery down there. Basically, I'm a Renaissance woman. I can do any kind of art. Just kidding. If I were doing a chalk walk art, it'd be like tic-tac-toe. These people are legit. If you are in town for this, you gotta go down there. And the cool thing is that the art stays there for a while because it's on the concrete and it's chalk. I mean, it's just, I love it. I love it. Okay, also, if you're wanting to do something in and around and you like fast cars, there's NASCAR race in the spring and the fall, and that happens every year in Bristol, and that's about an hour and a half from Knoxville. Super fun. This year is a dirt race in the spring and a night race in the fall, so that's happening April, the dirt race. Okay, so the Rossini Festival is also huge, not as large as Big Ears, but I want to get this correct, but per the website, the Rossini Festival is Knoxville Opera's annual international street fair that celebrates the global impact on music, food, art, and culture. And they've got 4 stages, food, art, everything. Super cool. And you don't actually have to pay. You don't have to pay to get there. Now, if you're wanting to drink and stuff, you pay for tickets for that. But really cool event. You definitely want to check that out. That is in April. Okay. If you are like an outdoor nature person, this is not something that I've actually done and I want to go very badly. Every spring, April-ish is the firefly date. So we have synchronous fireflies. You will go into the Great Smoky Mountains, into the national park, and there essentially are these fireflies and they light up together at night. I'm not even describing this correctly. It's supposedly literally insane and literally amazing because it's billions and millions and thousands of fireflies. That being said, in April is when you can put your name in the hat for the lottery and also when the dates are announced. It is an 8-day event and only 100 tickets per day are provided so that people can adequately see this. So you have to enter your name for a lottery and then you are told whether or not you get tickets. So that is something in April of this year, 2023. The dates will be announced in, April 25th, and then April 28th is when you can sign up for the lottery to get a pass. But you definitely want to get a pass, otherwise you're not gonna be seeing the fireflies. Now, if you know some people, you can kind of see from the backside, if that makes sense. And I don't mean that sounds weird. You know what I'm saying. So for example, we have friends that live in the spur off Gatlinburg and they can actually see the fireflies. But you would have to know people. So my suggestion is to just put your name in the hat for the lottery. It will be well worth it. Something I want to do. I've still not done. Okay. So also in April is the official Dogwood Arts Festival. And this is arts, music, crafts on Market Square, downtown, all kinds of, basically all kinds of stuff. I just think of a bunch of arts. But it's super cool. It's kind of like a market, but high-end artistry. I mean, there's all kinds of things. It's really cool. You got to go see that. Really neat. Also, something I didn't know happens is in April is the Jewish Food Festival. So if you're into food, you want to check that out. Let's talk about May. Mainly because I'm a former teacher, the main thing that happens in May is last day of school for students. Happens in May for Knox County schools. And typically last day for teachers also in May or the very first beginning of July. But I mean, not July. God, can you imagine? June, beginning of June. So usually last day of school for kiddos for Knox County is May 24th-ish. And then the teachers will be there a couple more days. This year, actually I didn't look up this year, but I do know last day for students is May 24th. Okay, so for May we have, not a ton of stuff. School ends in May for Knox County school students. This year specifically, May 24th, which also happens to be my birthday. And the reason why I looked this up because I'm a former teacher, but also because lots of kids go to school in Knox County schools if you're in Knoxville. So May 24th, last day for kiddos. The teachers will be a couple days later. Also, what happens in May is there are some events what I'll say this is not an official time. However, if you are a boating person, Memorial Day, which is end of May, right? That is usually your, almost to me, in my opinion, is the beginning of boating season, which obviously some people have already been out on their boats earlier, but I feel like that the Memorial Day weekend is really when people are like, okay, it's time to be on the lake every weekend as much as we can. So that's kind of cool because that's kind of the beginning of, the summer, it feels like. Even though that's not the first day of summer, which I don't even know what the first day of summer is. It totally could be. I have literally no idea. I'm just telling you, if you want to be out on the lake, Memorial Day is the kickoff. That's what it feels like, at least. So if we move on, June, something that I'm hoping will happen and definitely into the future that I don't think has been happening that long is Dolly Fest. So this is like all kinds of celebration about Dolly Parton themed things. Super fun, super cool. This year that is over 3 days, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So that's something super cool to check out downtown in the old city. Lots of fun and just like cool picture ops, really. I mean, just fun stuff. There is also this event I never heard of, Bike, Boat, Brew, and Bark. And so that's a combination of all of those things, biking, boating, beer, and dogs. I don't like beer, but I'm into the other 3 things. So I feel like this could be fun. So that's something to check out because supposedly from my research, that's an annual thing too. Never even heard of it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, something that's interesting is I don't know if you've heard of the Dragon, but the Dragon is like this windy road. If you're like a sports enthusiast or motorcyclist person, you probably have heard of this, but it is a very windy road. People like to race down this road, and there are camera companies set up to take your picture on the Dragon, but there is an annual bike ride in June that you can take part in, ride your bike on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trick my husband into doing this because I would really like to do it. I think he probably has no interest. He's ridden the Dragon in a car and in his motorcycle. Do you think he wants to ride it on his bike? Probably not, but I'm going to trick him into it. I'm not sure yet how, especially since he's the one that puts the bikes on the car, but I'll figure that out. Stay tuned. Also, in June is the USA Cycling Professional Road National Championships. And I say this only because none of us probably watching this video are going to be in the US National Champions cycling thing. We're not doing it. However, if you're in South Knoxville during this event, you're going to expect to be rerouted, okay? And do not try. I'm just telling you from personal experience, do not try to go back roads in South Knoxville because you will be trapped. I've done that before. So get where you need to go and stay out of South Knox, basically. Because you're going to be stuck in there and you're going to be trying to take back roads and it's all a bunch of dead ends. And if it's not a dead end, it's marked off because of the race. Just keep that in mind, okay? You're welcome for that little tidbit of information. All right, July. So something I learned that happens every year is Gatlinburg has a midnight July 4th parade. Super cool. So that's in Gatlinburg. That will be on the strip. Something definitely to check out. Never knew that happened, but it's pretty cool. Obviously, 4th of July happens. So that being said, if you're on the boat, whatever lake you're on, there's gonna be fireworks shows. That goes for Cherokee. I've actually been to a fireworks show on Cherokee. Norris, I've not been to one, but I know they exist. Douglas, they have fireworks. Fort Loudon, they have fireworks. So yeah, any lake you're on, you're gonna have fireworks. Also in July in Knoxville is the Fanboy Expo. So if you're into comics and all that kind of stuff, check that out. That happens in July. August, of course, is when the kiddos go back to school for Knox County. And then if you want to do another kind of racing thing, something that's cool that I think we just got in 2021 is the IndyCar race, the Music City Grand Prix. Now, Grand Prix. This is in Nashville, okay? Yes, I do understand that, which is not Knoxville. However, this is a perfect example of cool events that take place in and around Knoxville, and this is well worth the trip. My husband and I went 2021, we went 2022. It is so fun, it is so cool, tons of events, and it's just really neat. This is also the first place where we saw the super trucks last year, or maybe we saw them 2 years in a row. The super trucks, they're like these trucks. Go look them up. It's pretty cool. But they race over these ramps.
Gotta do it. We're doing it a roller. We've broken the wheel off Harlan.
And then of course the Indy cars are literally insane because they go so freaking fast and you're just like right there in the grandstands. Way better than, in my opinion, than NASCAR, because I feel like in NASCAR you're like way far away and you're watching the Jumbotron or whatever. You don't even know what they're freaking doing. Anyways, that's my personal opinion. No offense intended. Okay, September, this is when things really start to ramp up, and I want to take a moment of silence for Boomsday. So Boomsday was our huge fireworks event, and I'm looking at the years. It ran 1987 to 2015, and this is no joke. My mom lives off Middlebrook Pike in West Knoxville near Walker Springs Walmart. Okay, so just if you're looking at a map, go look at that. We could see the Boomsday fireworks from her front porch. This is literally the truth, not an exaggeration. Okay, this fireworks show was freaking insane. There was even this waterfall fireworks off the Henley Street Bridge or the Gay Street Bridge, one of the bridges downtown. And I mean, just literally amazing. And it was like this opera music was like, oh, and there was a lot of these fireworks. And it's sad still to me that it's over. Now, I will say, being there in person, it's hot as hell, it's sweaty, and it's disgusting. Because you have to go there early in this hot heat of September, and you have to wait for the fireworks to start, which is obviously late night. So it was kind of gross. You know what I mean? Kind of gross. But the fireworks made it all worth it. One year we went and parked like just off campus so we could skirt out of there, but it's over now. Maybe it will come back one day. I just want to say that's something you should go check out. Okay, also, sports really start to ramp up in September. For example, University of Tennessee, football, go Vols, Rocky Top. Their season starts September and it runs to the end of November. So that's something that's happening in September. Also in September is the Tennessee Valley Fair. And I've been multiple times. I went often, actually almost every year as a kid. And it's just something fun to do. And it is everything you could think about a state fair is what this is. So you have tractor pulls, you have corn dogs, you have turkey legs, you have concerts, you know what I'm saying? And just a bunch of outdoor heat. The swings are good though. The swings are really good. I love the swings, which is probably so lame to say. Tennessee Valley Fair, you got to go at least once. Also in September is the second race in Bristol. So again, that's a NASCAR race, about an hour and a half from Knoxville. It's something fun to do, super cool. There is also a fall rod run, which I forgot to mention the rod run that happens in the spring, which I think is in the winter. I didn't write it down, but if you're into cars, there is also a spring rod run that will happen in Pigeon Forge Severe Bowl. So if you are in town for that weekend, you're going to want to find alternate routes of traffic if you're in Severe Bowl Pigeon Forge, just saying, because it's a lot. Also in September is the Big Kahuna Wing Festival. I have attended this twice, I think one time. It is a lot of fun though, and I'm not a huge wing person, but I will say it is a nice way to scope out basically all the restaurants that serve wings and see where would you actually go eat their wings, because some wings just aren't that great. And then also there's some people there that they don't actually have a restaurant. It's like a mom and pop place, or, you know, somebody that wanted to be like, listen how good my wings are. Not listen, taste how good these wings are, and they're literally the bomb. And then some people have like sides and stuff. It's so good. So that's something that's cool that happens in World's Fair Park, just below the Sun Sphere, just under the Sun Sphere. So it's kind of a cool atmosphere too. So that's big things in September. October, stuff to check out, especially for the kiddos. Boo at the Zoo, which is where you get to dress up, go to the zoo. You do need to get tickets for this. They do sell out every year. And there also is a late night Boo at the Zoo for adults, which I've actually not been to, but alcohol is included. And I think that would be something fun to do. So that's at the zoo. Also, of course, in October, haunted houses, corn mazes, hay rides, all the things happening in October. I don't know of any big annual events, so, you know, that's just that. For November, a couple of huge things in November. Number one is the Greek Fest. Greek Fest started in 1971 and still runs to this day. It's like food, Greek culture, music, everything. And it's held at the Greek Orthodox Church just on Kingston Pike. And get this, every year it attracts over the course of a 3-day weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think it's Friday, Saturday, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know. It's 3 days. I'm pretty sure. It's over the course of a weekend. Okay. And plus or minus a Thursday, Friday. That being said, 20,000 people go to this every year. 20,000. And truth be told, I've never actually even gone. I've wanted to go every year. I've never gone. You do need to park elsewhere and take a shuttle. So make sure you do your research on that. That is not something where I would just show up to, because you're going to be redirected real fast. Off Kingston Pike, you're going to be like, oh, I need to go find the shuttle. There are places like in Bearden you can park. Just go to the website and you'll find the information. But Greek Fest, that happens in November. Downtown, we do have an annual Veterans Day parade, and that's super cool because it's just a cool event. And then also you get to see a lot of the high schools take part in it with their bands and that kind of thing. It's a really cool parade, actually. I'm not sure what it is that I love about it, but I actually, when I was at L&N, that's another cool thing, is we walk up there every year and watch the Veterans Day parade. Super cool. Fantasy of Trees. Listen, do yourself a favor. Fantasy of Trees, you want to go to it. Okay, so it is the kind of hallmark fundraiser for the East Tennessee Children's Hospital, and it is usually the Tuesday before Thanksgiving to the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So that little 5-day span, and this sounds so lame, but it is freaking magical. I'm telling you, the most craziest, coolest Christmas trees you've ever seen, like thousands of dollars spent to make these beautiful Christmas trees. And then you also have schools with like first grade classes that have made a Christmas tree. There is, they also have a competition for gingerbread houses. That's insane. When I was a kid, I used to dance at the Fantasy of Trees for my dance studio or whatever, my sister and I both. There's cheerleading, there's choirs. I think I've even sung at Fantasy of Trees, and I've even volunteered at Fantasy of Trees. And there's activities for kids like $1 cookie decorating and coloring, and there's a Santa. You can take a picture with Santa, and there's like picture moments. It's just, listen, just do it, okay? And then there's also shopping. Like you can do Christmas shopping. There's boutiques that go and have a little booth there. So it's Fantasy of Trees to me is awesome. Like, don't miss it. I think it's so cool. It could be quite overwhelming for a little kiddo. If you're going to do that, I would say get there early, especially if you have little kids, because like with my nieces and nephews, it's been way overwhelming. Now let's see, we took my nephew Grant. No, sorry, Malachi. When he was like a year old, and it was a lot for him. He was like, not into it. Skirt, gotta get out. Now this past year, I think it was better for him. I didn't go with him this year, but I also have friends who've taken like their kindergartner. Also, it was a lot. So it does get crowded. Therefore, I would say go earlier in the day. They even have a merry-go-round. So cool. Which my other nephew, Grant, I actually do mean Grant, when he was little, he enjoyed the merry-go-round. So anyways, just a fun fact about that. Thanksgiving Day, there are all kinds of 5Ks and 10Ks. There's one downtown, there's one in Turkey Creek, which I made a video about the one in Turkey Creek this past year. So that's something fun to do if you like to be outside and you want to compensate for all the turkey, which turkey's not that bad. So I should say all the pumpkin pie or whatever it is, all the dinner rolls that you're gonna eat. Then maybe you should do a 5K. I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying they have those races. Okay, and then also in November, a lot of the Christmas stuff starts. Obviously, Fantasy of Trees. The Market Square skating rink gets put up. So there's an ice skating rink in Market Square, and you can skate there from essentially, I know November to, I believe, New Year's. So that's something that's super cool. And maybe actually a couple of days after New Year's is the skating rink. And obviously there's lights. Also, another event that we did this year in December was the Tour de Lights, which was a bike parade from South Knoxville to Market Square. So that's a super fun event. And that is literally all ages and all animals. We saw people that took their dogs, and we saw people that had their little cat in their little backpack. So, and then tons of kids and strollers and small bikes. So that's a really just fun event. I got ahead of myself. The Tour de Lights is in December. I got into the Christmas spirit and I got ahead. So that happens in December. Also in December is Christmas parade and just all kinds of Christmas events. You do also have things like Three Rivers Rambler, which you can take a Christmas train ride. So anyways, those are some of the major annual events. And like I said, this is not a fully conclusive list, but I wanted to include everything that happens yearly. And then something also to note is that there is a winter farmers market and a summer's farmers market, and those happen every Saturday. So this includes, you know, typical farmers market stuff and like vegetables, fruits, whatever, but then also baked goods and coffees and all kinds of stuff. So that happens every Saturday. There's one in the summer and one in the winter. Also Knox Ice Fairs, they have a super long season. So that's like October through April. That is something really fun to do. I think I wrote down the wrong date. So go to Knoxville Ice Fairs. They have an extremely long season. So that is a super fun event. I will say that if you're going to buy alcohol there, it is very expensive, but that's something that's ongoing that you can do a good part of the year. That would be a nice and fun event. Also new for 2023 at the time making this video is the Film Fest Knox. So don't know a ton of information about it. I did some research and saw that this was brand new film festival. There is a Banff Film Festival in the like spring winter time. So that's something to look at. As far as UT sports, obviously football, like I said, September through November. Men's and women's basketball, that's going to be October through March. Definitely something to check out. You definitely want to head over to check them out. It's a super awesome atmosphere, super fun, really cool. It's just, I don't know, I love it. And then also men's baseball, that happens February through May. So those are some ongoing events that are going to happen every year, and you have plenty of opportunity to get some tickets and go check out the sporting events. Some other shout outs I want to make that I couldn't find. Typically every year, the University of Tennessee Veterinary Medical School, they have an open house. And it is so cool. I went as a kid. It's still one of my probably favorite events. And it's just you get kind of like a behind the scenes look at the veterinary school, and you see dogs and you see just all kinds of stuff about like being a veterinarian, and it's just cool. It's really cool. So I did not see dates for this year, and then I got worried like maybe they don't do this anymore, but I wanted to shout it out and put it in your ear as something that possibly to check out that happens typically in the spring. There's also a biscuit festival in Maryville, and then all kinds of just different beer fests that I just want to shout out to you as well. No dates yet for those things per like me looking for 2023, but those things do happen. So I do want to say that, like there's a beer festival in World's Fair. And then the biscuit festival is like Maryville. So that happens. I think there's even like I'm pretty sure that my friend Carl goes to a maple syrup festival. Now, I could be confusing this with the biscuit festival. I know for a fact there is a biscuit festival. So just saying, if you like biscuits, check that out and maybe do a Google search for a maple syrup festival. And then also every year Knoxville Pride Parade. So that's usually September-ish. So anyways, those are some awesome, cool events in Knoxville. All kinds of races and outdoor things that got left out, but I tried to include things like I said, that are going to happen pretty much annually. So if you have questions, let me know. If you've been to any of these events, let me know what you thought. And I think that's all for now. I will see you on the next video.